All right, so this is part three of the series, focusing on the liberal black athlete and how they're coming out against Trump and supposedly the conservative aspect of America at large, really precipitated by the events at Charlottesville. Right now, they're interviewing Mr. Michael Bennett. Let's see what else he has to say.
All right, so Marshawn Lynch and Michael Bennett continued sitting for the national anthem the first week of preseason action in the.
And please pay attention to the fact that, as he said, Michael Bennett and Marshawn Lynch are sitting for the national anthem. There are two so-called black men amongst probably 350 so-called black men in the NFL. So, I mean, that's what? Maybe 1.5%, right? So in other words, you're concentrating on them as opposed to all the men that are standing. Why is that? Because you are the liberal sports media and you have to create a narrative. You have to create chaos whenever possible, especially to fill your news cycle. You have to put out this image that you're super revolutionary when you're really not. When you're another controlled talking head on a major mass media outlet like ESPN, which is a subsidiary of Disney, which handles a lot of MK programming, particularly of children. But that's a whole other topic.
The NFL, you heard a little bit from Michael Bennett earlier. Whatever you're doing, stop what you're doing. Give your undivided attention to this conversation with Michael Bennett, who.
No, they said give your undivided attention. They didn't say give your undivided attention to Michael Bennett. They said give your undivided attention to this conversation. Once again, we're going to use these dumbass liberal black male athletes that are acting like little bitches, begging the Caucasian for attention. We're going to use them to fill up our airtime until football season comes around.
Who explains his reasoning behind sitting for the national anthem and the reaction that he's received thus far.
All right, and now Michael Bennett joins our show. Mike, obviously your decision to protest and to sit for the national anthem has created a lot of conversation. You said in a recent piece in Yahoo that wasn't as told to that you've been thinking about it for a while. What made you finally decide to do it?
I think it was over the weekend and seeing all the stuff that was going on in Charlottesville, so much violence, so much hate. I wanted to get back to the point where we remember why we're American citizens.
So, in other words, he was massively affected by a lot of the quote-unquote militant white trash that marched in Charlottesville and didn't want to give him a hug. All right, he was so affected by the television that projected an image of maybe 2,000-3,000 low-level Caucasian males, as opposed to the millions of Caucasians that adore him and idolize him. This is how much he wants to be loved by all Caucasian people. This is why I make these videos, brother, because these people on television, they try to front and present this image of one thing when it's actually the complete opposite. They're trying to front like they're pro-black and they're completely pro-Caucasian. That's all they're about. They talk about slavery. This type of dude that would have liked to have been a slave because it would have allowed him to be closer to the so-called white man. All right? He's running around talking about segregation. Where in the hell are they talking about bringing back segregation in the United States? I mean, how did you get from what you saw in Charlottesville, which was a group of low-level Caucasians marching who got attacked by liberal whites and the liberal blacks and homosexuals and lesbians that followed them, and that silly altercation? You got from that little skirmish and some crazy bugged-out MK asset that plowed through some silly white woman. From that, you got segregation?
You know, the freedom, the liberty, and the equality. And I wanted.
This nigga could be on drugs, man, to be honest with you. Allegedly. He could be on something. Don't be shocked. I'm gonna do some research on this guy.
I wanted to make sure that we never forget that. And really, when I really just wanted to honor that. I wanted to honor those things that we said, those principles, the founding principles of what we're all supposed to be here. So that's the reason, real reason. And Charlottesville was so crazy, and things happened in Seattle, and just so much controversy going on within the society right now. It only makes sense. There's
really not any controversy. It's no more controversial than any other presidential term. If you know about the things that occurred in each and every presidency, it's really just it's just much more of a spotlight on Trump, because Trump is kind of he's kind of a blip in the progression, in the liberal progression that they made under Barack Obama, who was a nothing but a pawn and an asset and a big pansexual sitting in the White House, who was supposed to be the face of black improvement, a guy who did nothing for 8 years except get on TV. Whenever he talked about race, it was him just dogging out the so-called black man, saying nothing about any other demographic. All he did was dog out black men. Every time he was on TV, black men need to do this and black men need to do that, and wasn't giving them any real insight other than being a African male version of what these so-called black women would say, right? Because he understood where his bread was buttered, with the homosexuals and with the women.
Now, how long had you been considering sitting for the anthem, and what prevented you from doing it before this week?
I think before different places. I think over the summer doing so much, and on the off season doing so much time spending in different communities around the United States and around the country and around and Haiti, doing a lot of different things. And I think
so. He spent time in Haiti, and this is an example of what I mean by ruling class mentality. Haiti, which a lot of y'all probably know this already, is the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, but it's also the richest in regards to natural resources. Gold, diamonds, and oil. Haiti is the richest, or amongst the richest locations in the Western Hemisphere. Okay? But it's being plundered because it is really just a colony for the elite that are located in the West. And it's also a staging point for a lot of the child sex slave trafficking. A lot of Caucasians who are pansexual or homosexual, sexual degenerates, they come down to Haiti and they engage in child sex parties. And they also traffic children out of there into the Americas, where they're used for child sex slave rings and also for sacrifices, allegedly. All right. Matter of fact, Hillary Clinton had a female associate there who got in trouble for child sex trafficking. I'm trying to remember what her name was. It'll come to me.
I think it just really resonated with what was going on, what was actually going on in the world, and how people were being I don't know, just everything seems so segregated. Everything seems so.
You see how he keeps saying segregated? That's the only thing that's on his mind, is how much he wants to be with his master, with his Lord and Savior, the average Caucasian man. That's the only thing that's on his mind. There's nothing that's so-called pro-black about his stance. All right? That's why he mentioned the homosexuals before. Now he's mentioning the Caucasians. This guy has a mental issue. Like I said, it would not surprise me if he's on some type of drug or medication, allegedly.
It seems like we're living back in the past, and I wanted to, not make everybody say make America great again. I didn't get that and all those taglines, and there was so much hatred going on at this point. I just wanted to be able to bring it back around and really get that message around about love and peace and trying to get everybody together.
Yes, pansexuality, Babylonian philosophy. Everybody come together, hold hands, coming together of opposing forces. No matter if we disagree, we all have to come together, because we got to help Michael Bennett sleep at night.
And try to figure out and look at things differently.
Now, you spent a lot of time with Colin Kaepernick, who we'll get to in a second, but if you recall, when Colin first sat for the anthem, there was a lot of conversation about his posture, and through compromise, he ended up taking a knee, which a lot of people have done. Was there any consideration on your part as it relates to sitting versus taking a knee?
Yeah, Colin was originally sitting, and then they sent in that NK handler, Nate Boyer, from the military, who had a quote-unquote conversation with him. And he decided to amend it to taking a knee, really bowing before the flag. And now this guy has had quote-unquote conversations with Colin, and now the bug has hit him. That's why I say I must do some research on this man and his brother while I'm at it.
No, it's just all, I feel like it's all the same. I think it all runs together. I think he led, you see what happened to him. I mean, obviously he had to sacrifice. I mean, I think he spoke up and he dealt with a lot of different things that was going on, and from death.
He hadn't dealt with shit. All right. He hadn't dealt with shit. If you're talking about issues, no. If you're talking about people maybe addressing him or claiming that they're going to kill him, look, that's par for the course. If it ain't happened, the threat wasn't serious.
Death threats to people not wanting him to be in the stadium, people hating it. And so I think a lot of players were scared of that. And then on top of that, players feeling like him being blackballed, I think people were, eventually scared. But now, just because he's out the league, we didn't want to lose the message and didn't want to lose.
There was no message. That's why you're the only one sitting. I don't even count Marshawn. Marshawn just sitting because he hates everybody, other than the people in Oakland. And hey, I respect that.
Lose that passion to be able to keep pushing for justice and liberty and equality for everybody, and no matter the color of their skin or where they're from. And we just want to keep pushing that regardless if he was out the NFL. And me being a friend of his, and I wanted to keep that message alive.
You just mentioned how Colin received death threats. What kind of backlash have you received?
I think I fear getting the same. I think I'm getting the same thing. I think.
No, you say you fear getting the same thing. In other words, nobody's paying your black ass no mind. Okay? Because you're really just looking for attention. Let me rewind that back.
I think that message alive.
You just mentioned how Colin received death threats. What kind of backlash have you received?
I think I fear getting the same. I think I'm getting the same thing. I think.
You see what he did? He said, I think I fear getting this. And then he changed it to I'm getting the same thing. In other words, he tried to make himself a victim. Nobody is sending you anything, bro. Nobody cares about what you're talking about. All right, it's at the point now where even the white racists are like, oh, fuck this nigga. We got better things to do than send these guys letters all the damn time. We got to march on Charlottesville. Nobody's sending him anything, but that show you his mindset. He wants to be a he wants to be a martyr so bad, a fake martyr, that now he's going to fabricate stories about how he's being sent stuff. He said when initially he said, I fear being sent something, and then he changed it. Damn liar.
I think a lot of people don't know when you... Yeah, of course, there's all kinds of people are saying crazy things. And at this point, it's just one of those things where you're proving the point.
Just like this dude, LeBron James, with that alleged nigger being written on his gate. All right, we still haven't found out. This guy's one of the top 3 most famous athletes in the world, and we still don't know who the hell wrote nigger on this man's gate, allegedly. Probably was him. Allegedly.
Proving the point that just because somebody speaks about equality and they speak about justice and they speak about freedom, it rubs people the wrong way. That shows you that there's this institutional way of thinking.
Nobody cares about any of that bullshit. All right, you're making a big deal about 2,000 low-level white boys marching in Charlottesville, Virginia. Get the fuck out of here, man. You should have marched in there amongst all them and said, guys, can we take a group? Can I get a group hug? Can we take a group picture? That's what you should have did.
People think, even some reporters wrote that I don't belong to me, I belong to the Seahawks, so I don't have the right to be able to speak about different things. And to me, I felt like, that was just, it was nonsense. It's not the truth.
Did they really say that, or is that how you're paraphrasing it? Did they really say that, bro, or is that how you're paraphrasing it? Because we've already proven that you'll make shit up, that you'll change phraseology to make yourself out to be a victim.
Truth. And at this point, you just got to keep speaking, and hopefully, other guys will join you.
The only way other guys are going to join you is if you actually have something to say, bro. You don't have anything to say. You just trying to get some attention, and it's sad. And this guy's always been an attention monger. It's the same guy who on the field was after sacks doing 3 pumps in the air, right? Now all of a sudden he's trying to be Malcolm Luther King.
I honestly believe that it would take a white player to be able to really get things changed, because a lot of people, when somebody from the other side understands and they step up and they speak about it, it would change the whole conversation, because you bring somebody who doesn't really have to be a part of the conversation to bring it himself and making himself vulnerable.
You see what he said there? That's why I let that run. Once again, the so-called black man feels that he needs a white savior. Okay? It's very, very important that we analyze a lot of these so-called black men who they're putting in positions of leadership. That's why I say I'm going to do some research on this man, because it wouldn't surprise me if he has a certain background either. Okay? We need a white player to do this because they'll listen to him. In other words, what that translates as, his word is worth more than mine's. Not just in the eyes of the mainstream media, but in my eyes. That's why I want, that's why I'm scared of segregation. I'm scared that I'm going to only be stuck with so-called black men, and I'm actually going to have to work with them. I don't want to just have to work with black men. I want to be able to work with Caucasians too, because they have all the answers. All right, I'm gonna wind this back.
In front of it, somebody from the other side understands and they step up and they speak. I believe that it would take a white player to be able to really get things change, because a lot of people, when somebody from the other side understands and they step up and they speak about it, it will change the whole conversation, because you bring somebody who doesn't really have to be a part of the conversation to bringing themselves and making themselves vulnerable in front of it. And I think when that happens, things will really take a big jump.
Take a big jump where? Take a big jump where, man? I feel so, I would almost feel sorry for this guy if he wasn't so pathetic, and if I, didn't have certain suspicions about what may be going on with him. But we'll see. I'll have to do some research to confirm it.
Well, tell that Stick to Sports crowd, when they pay your taxes, you'll shut up, okay?
Now, when you were just comparing it to Colin Kaepernick, now when he decided to make his stance, he was at a more vulnerable part in his career. You just recently signed a 3-year, $30 million extension. Do you think you still would have done this had you not signed that extension and been at the point in your career you are right now?
No, I really just think it was through experience. I think the experiences that I've had over the last 2 years have led to this moment. I think it's not so much the money is not about the morality. It's more about the morality and not the money part. I think for me it's really about really seeing this America, seeing how people are being torn apart, seeing how kids lack resources, seeing that there's so much injustice going on socially.
One of the main reasons why children lack resources and why resources are lacking, period, is because there's nothing backing the money. All right? People don't own anything here. Right? Everything, most of what we see here in America is owned by the banks, including the people. Okay? When you have a birth certificate, really what that's saying is that you're owned by the international banks. Okay? You're traded as a stock option. These are all reasons why, people feel like that everything is becoming more and more dilapidated, because the money's not worth anything. Like I said, for those of you who are looking for a worldly solution, you should march on Washington and demand that the Federal Reserve be dissolved.
Socially and economically, I mean, at this point, it felt right, and it feels like we need to be having this conversation.
And that the money system should be returned to the gold and silver standard.
I think a lot of people want to keep. They say, "Why do you care? You shouldn't care." But at the end of the day, it matters. Everything matters. There's so many kids who are looking up to us the same way that companies express to us to sell their products, whether it's Nike, Coca-Cola, or TVs, or whatever they want us to sell.
That's true. Kids are looking up to you. That's why you shouldn't be doing that 3-pump celebration when you sack quarterbacks.
Why can't we sell the thought process of freedom? Why can't we sell the thought process of equality? Why can't we sell that and make sure that
Nike's already been doing that, bro? Right? All that is for a corporate propaganda move. That's all. Nike already did that with LeBron and Serena Williams and Kevin Durant, a bunch of low-level thinking Negroes who just wanted to, feel like they're a part of something, talking a bunch of shit.
Sure that we are preaching that, and make sure that when we inspire kids, don't inspire them just to be athletes, but inspire them to be change makers and change the society and change the people around them and change.
Yeah, and inspire them to understand the money system, inspire them to want to be business owners, inspire them to actually want to cultivate their talents, inspire them to actually want to have a household and lead it, right? Inspire them to be properly informed, aka properly educated with real history. Right? Inspire them to want to be autonomous entities, to be self-defined and self-validated, and not have to turn to somebody else to give you a hug to feel like you're relevant.
Change their communities.
That's good stuff. Pete Carroll said he would prefer that all his players stood for the anthem. You guys locked arms last year. Doug Baldwin said that you guys do everything as a family. He obviously supported you, as you know, but you guys do everything as a family. What kind of conversations have taken place within the Seahawks locker room among the players since you sat?
I think a lot of players understand the story, understand the process, and understand my purpose and what.
No, I think a lot of players are just at the point now where, it's getting old. They really don't have time to try to investigate the ins and outs of what you claim your quote unquote protest is about, and they're just gonna let you do you. And just like a child throws a tantrum, you let them get all of it out of their system. He'll do the same thing that Kaepernick did last year. After a while, he'll stop his protests and claim that he's found a different way. Most of these guys are nothing but big babies.
and what I believe in. I think they see me and dedicate my life to working in the communities, trying to do change through the foundation. I'm working in different parts of the world and just doing different things. So I think guys understand that this is not it's not anything to fool anybody. This is truly who I am. This is truly what my passion is. This is truly what my message is. And I think guys respect that because they know that I put in the work in. They know that I'm really doing these things that I'm talking about. And I think guys respect that. So I think I haven't had any backlash from any of my teammates as of now. But I think I got a lot of love and just in general from the city and people just around.
Yeah, well, I mean, come on. Seattle is a super liberal city. Like, what does that even mean? Like, all those people do is up there is smoke a bunch of weed and interracially date and they're a bunch of bugged out nut jobs up there in Seattle. So I mean, I would expect them to quote unquote support you. They're too high to even know the difference in regards to what you actually represent as opposed to what you don't represent. Most of them people don't know what the hell is going on. Seattle's the type of city where people just protest just to protest.
So it's been really good. I think today was the most touching day for me personally. We had the military out and on our campus today, and so many of them gave me hugs and gave me pendants, and they talked about that they believe.
Oh, you finally got the hug that you was looking for? Was it a white man that hugged you? Is that why that tear is trickling down your cheek?
Believed in me and they trust that the things that I'm doing is the right thing, and for me that made me very emotional to know that.
I knew it. Didn't I tell you? This dude is emotionally unstable, man. I guarantee you, a so-called white serviceman gave him a hug and a tear rolled down his cheek. I promise you that.
People make this divide that I'm trying to disrespect the military, and hear military soldiers coming and talking to me, and if they said this is what they're fighting for the equality and freedom of people, and it just made me feel, it just touched my heart. It touched me because you never know how many people you're inspiring, and you never know how much work you're doing to other people to give them the right and not the fear or the realities of the world, and to go out to make a change. And I think that's what keeps everybody going, is that to have that freedom and to have no fear.
Yeah. And the military, they're just as deluded as you. They're going out to fight for freedom. No, they're not. They're going out to attain more natural resources from these foreign countries to bring back to America so that they can try to pay back the loans that they're taking from the Federal Reserve and the international banks. That's all.
No, it's not to be judged because of your skin, your choices, and that's just what.
You see, once again, you can't be judged because of your skin color, your choices, aka your sexual preference. So-called black man, do not allow yourself to get sucked into this fake revolutionary bullshit, man. This protest mentality. These niggas are pawns, man. I promise you that. I don't know enough about this dude right now, but I know enough about Kaepernick to know. And if Kaepernick was dealing with him and is his Svengali, something's rotten in Denmark with this dude also.
What it is, and I really enjoyed that today.
My man, if we had a collection plate, we would pass it to you. One thing you can never say about Michael Bennett is he walks it and he talks it. Now,
yeah, unlike you. All right. Your ass, if you had a collection plate, you probably just put $5 in there. Oh, hell, you'd probably be like Coming to America, put some damn chicken bones in there. Talking about, oh, I thought that was the trash. Shit. That's how fake these people are, man. Get on my nerve with this nonsense.
now go ahead and walk to your meeting.
Right.
Keep that Seahawks defense dominant.
Yeah,
We'll
I
talk
can't
to you
tell you
later.
to take your time back because you got to get out of here.
Yeah,
So
thanks for taking the time, man.
This dude look crazy as hell. Look at how glassy his eyes look. Something's going on with this guy.
Thank you, man. I appreciate you guys for having me on. God bless.
Yeah. Hey, man, there's nothing hidden that shall not be revealed. But anyway, peace.